How do we get to a point where we take what's written in these texts, Vedanta Sutras, as axioms?
Well, I could say from my own personal experience, I grew up here in the Bay Area, Lafayette, California. Mm-hmm. I really wanted to know, I had a lot of questions myself when I was a kid. I was in kindergarten and our president was assassinated, Kennedy. Mm-hmm. And I always used to ask my parents, why do I have to die? And they'd tell me, well, you're not going to die right now. I go back to bed and I think like, yeah, but I am later. And I had a friend in high school who was a top athlete. He went hiking in the mountains and never came back. No one ever found him again. And it was during the Vietnam era. I didn't have to go. I was right in a niche where they didn't really call me. They didn't have to. But still there was this sense of doom in a way that, why am I doing all these things if I just have to die? I need to solve that riddle. Mm-hmm. And when I was in high school, I started looking into it, and I turned to the library, and I started going through as many books as I could find. And when I found what there were voices that had, and those who were intelligent, who had thought about these things before, and I felt kindred with them. And as I refined my search or research, and I came to specifically the Bhagavad Gita, a friend of mine gave it to me when I was in sophomore in high school. And I started reading it. It was just the translations. It resonated because it answered my questions in a very reasonable way. It made a lot of sense to me. And as I looked more into that genre, I found that the system of knowledge was very sophisticated, as was the culture. For instance, Sanskrit, the very word means it's highly refined. In fact, some of the first people that came from Europe into India and then looked into the culture, at first they thought, oh, they're all heathens, and there's a way in which there's a very backward culture. And then they discovered Sanskrit, and they said, hold everything. This is way more advanced than Latin, and so forth. And it shocked the European world. And the more I've looked into the culture of knowledge and the reasonableness of it, it's a system that works very well and that resonates. So that's how I found it, and it was almost in a visceral sense when I was hungry for answering a question that they weren't going to answer in high school for sure. Mm-hmm. When even my parents didn't know, and I thought they knew everything. I even asked my older brother, mm-hmm. and he told me, he said, when you die, you become nothing. And that really kept me up at night, because like, how am I going to go from something to nothing? So it was a series of events in my life and conundrums that I really wanted to solve. And when I heard the clear voice that came from the Bhagavad Gita, something other philosophers, not that I was ever a philosopher, but Thoreau, Emerson, and thinkers around the world read it and didn't treat it as a sectarian idea, but as a universal way of improving oneself and answering these questions. Mm-hmm.